Napoleon Bonaparte. Heard of him? I bet you have. Looked a little bit like this. Wait. That's better. Small little French fella. Lost to the British a lot. You know the deal. Maybe you've heard about his tactical genius, his progressive reforms. Maybe you believe him a misunderstood revolutionary, or maybe a charismatic leader driving France towards a brighter future. Or maybe you're like me and think that Napoleon Bonaparte was a colossal dick. If you don't think this yet, I have a feeling you may agree with me after this video. Anyway, with no more gilding the lily and no further ado, I present to you the numerous war crimes, atrocities, and generally twattish behaviour of Napoleon Bonaparte.
Evidence case number 1. Siege of Acre, 1799.
Yeah, that guy Napoleon was a fucking dick.
So Acre was this city, right? But not just any city. It was a city of strategic importance due to its commanding position on the route between Egypt and Syria. Bonaparte wanted to capture it following his invasion of Egypt, and he really hoped to incite a rebellion against the Ottomans and threaten British India. The troops of this chap called Djezzar Pasha were holding the city against the French, with several guns, armaments, and men supplied by the boys in red, if you know what I mean. Upon hearing the tales of the dastardly acts committed by the French after the siege of Jaffa, more of that later, these chaps were desperate to hold their city against this small little man. The siege lasted about 3 months, and of course the French lost. Or did they? No, they did. Hard. They lost hard. But little Napoleon couldn't have word of a defeat spreading around now, could he? This spiteful little man, in order to save face, wouldn't agree for the evacuation of his own wounded. You see, he thought this would be a clear sign that they had lost the siege. Imagine that shit. You've just fought tooth and nail for this bloke, seen your mates die and all manner of other atrocities, you've taken a bullet and been captured by the enemy, and yet, to save face, your commander won't even arrange your evacuation. Napoleon was a prick. Even worse than that. When the siege was surely lost, Napoleon did something truly heinous. He ordered all his remaining ammunition fired into the city before they retreated. Now, he was not firing his guns at the defences. No. He was firing at the civilian area of the city. Women, children, bombarded by countless French cannon fire. This was not a tactical act, not some grand military plan. No, this was pettiness manifest. A petulant child having a tantrum because he can't have any more sweeties. Once again, Napoleon, prick.
Napoleon was a prick.
Evidence case number 2. JeanBaptiste Cleber.
Did I mention JeanBaptiste Cleber? This guy. Look at him. Hair, wild, gut, prominent. He was a commander directly under Napoleon. No, not like that. The thing about Cleber was that, well, he wasn't a colossal dick. He was brave, smart, and most of all his troops loved him, something that infuriated little Napoleon. He also wasn't afraid to speak his mind. We are told that in meetings he was one of the only chaps to give Napoleon what for on several occasions. And, as you can imagine, insulting the god of France so blazonly must have pissed Boney off even more. Upon inspecting the trenches at Acre, Cleber was even commenting that they were fine for little Napoleon, but only came up to his waist. What a cheeky devil. Well, anyway, when Napoleon's little adventure to Istanbul proved to be a humongous, gargantuan, hideous, grotesque, boiled failure, what did he do? Pissed off back to France. He left Cleber with absolutely fuck all. No guns, food, money, ships, just a half-broken, exhausted army. Despite this, Cleber went on to produce some victories, pretty astounding ones to be honest. Isn't it amazing what decent leadership and morale will get you, eh? Of course, I doubt little Napoleon would have liked Cleber doing so well in this manner without him. Refer back to my child throwing a tantrum argument. But it was my campaign. He shouldn't be winning it. It was my idea. He is a petulant child. Then, guess what? Cleber gets assassinated. What a shock! Who could have organized this, I wonder? Now, this is total conjecture on my part, but I really don't think some Arab student was the mastermind behind this. Anyway, Kleber's body was shipped back to France, as it should have been. And fearing that his tomb would become a symbol of republicanism, Napoleon ordered it held at the Château d'If,
Château d'If.
on an island near Marseille. It stayed there for 18 years. Yep, you heard that right. Napoleon II, who had single-handedly won more battles for France against all odds in the same region of Napoleon's shitty little campaign, was denied right to be buried in his hometown. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Napoleon prick.
Evidence case number 3, the Jaffa atrocities.
When Napoleon took Jaffa, yeah, I guess he did win sometimes, although his tail was most certainly between his legs after the almighty spanking Nelson gave him in the Nile. Anyway, when Napoleon did take Jaffa, the garrison surrendered to him. About 4,000 blokes. Now this is a human being. This is what 4,000 human beings look like. Keep this in mind. They surrendered and agreed terms. I will say it again. They had agreed terms and fucking surrendered. What did Boney do? He took them down to the beach and bayoneted them all to a man. 4,000 men. Surrendered unarmed men. Bayoneted on a beach. Why bayoneted, you ask? Because Napoleon wished to conserve ammunition. But what about Napoleon's men? Many of his officers were absolutely appalled by this. Some even became suicidal following this massacre, and can you really blame them? It is truly amazing how much of a wanker little Napoleon was. Oh, but it doesn't end there. Jaffa was taken. So, what now? I don't know, let's just go around burning crops, razing villages, and murdering everyone in sight. Not just the fighting men, oh no, civilians too. It is really fucking hard to grow crops in these sandy regions, and the little food the populace were able to produce, oh, I don't know, let's just burn it. I don't know what the plan was here. Get everyone so scared of you that they would capitulate? Become so much of a tyrant that the very people whose homes you now occupy, whose streets you now walk, fear and detest you. This again is an example of sheer spitefulness. Little man syndrome manifest. Napoleon was a prick. Wait, before we start the next section, let's just do a little roundabout. We've spoken to a lot of people now, and I'd love to get their opinion on this Napoleon guy. Hey, Cleber, guy with the nice hair, what do you think of Napoleon?
Napoleon was a prick.
Oh, that's very interesting. How about you, Sir Sidney Smith, Napoleon's greatest enemy? How about you? What do you think?
Yeah, that guy Napoleon was a fucking dick.
Ah, again, very, very interesting stuff, right? I mean, Arthur Wesley, the Archduke of Wellington, surely you've got something to say about him.
Napoleon was a prick.
Ah, terrific. No, thank you, Duke. Thank you, Wesley. I mean, Nelson, you had some stuff with him. What about you?
Napoleon was a prick.
Nice, Nelly. Very good. And I guess random French peasant girl, what do you reckon?
Napoleon was a prick.
Oh yeah, I mean, I agree totally. Oh, wait a minute, who's that over there? Is that George III, the King of England? Georgie, surely you've got something to say about him.
Yeah, nah, mate, Napoleon, fucking prick, eh?
Nice, very good. Well, now that we've talked to the important people, we should probably get back to this next segment.
Evidence case number 4, Peninsular War.
This leads me on nicely to discuss the overall attitude of the French invaders during this period of history. For example, in his invasion of Spain and Portugal, Napoleon's men were encouraged to loot and kill with impunity after sieges. Look, this was a turbulent time in history, and all sides committed heinous acts. Nobody's whiskers were clean. But it's how Napoleon dealt with them that really grinds my gears. For example, the Brits' retreat to Corunna in 1809 was a horrible thing. Sacking, murdering, the lot. Bad stuff. But what did our commander, the Duke of Wellington, do when he heard of this? He flew into an almighty rage and ordered the perpetrators hanged on the spot. And rightly so. Napoleon, however, encouraged this behaviour. Hell, in the same year of 1809, when the Duke of Wellington, Arthur Wesley, was hanging our vile miscreants, there was a mass execution of civilians who were thought to have an issue with the French regime. We're talking numbers in the hundreds of thousands here. Not insignificant at all. When a town was sacked, no one was spared. Not even the holy in the cathedrals. All was burnt to ash, and all were killed. I will end this segment with a quote that is quite serious regarding the sackings of towns by the French from none other than the Duke of Wellington, Arthur Wesley. Now, it's important to note here that Wesley was not a man who relished retellings of atrocities. In fact, that after particularly horrible battles, he would fall silent and say only the facts. And he was certainly not a man who over-embellished. He had this to say: "The British people, I'm certain, wouldn't believe the indecent behaviours of the French after their retreat. I have never seen, nor heard, nor read of such behaviour, and am convinced their actions have no equal in world history. You will hear several shocking recounts which should be told to the world at large. They killed all the country folk they found. Every day we found the bodies of women, young and old, who were either stabbed or shot. Since we were near Condexia, they regularly sent patrols to fetch all girls over the age of 10 to the camp to satisfy the soldiery. Every child we met was in tears, mourning the death of a parent. The houses were systematically burned. They dug up and looted the graves. 2 days ago, one of our patrols entered a village where they found 36 corpses, most of whom were in their beds." That was Arthur Wesley, the Archduke of Wellington. And he was discussing there the behaviour that Napoleon encouraged from his men. Encouraged. I'll say it again. Napoleon, yeah, he was a prick. But hey, now he's dead. Hurrah! Now, I could go on for hours recounting the shitty behaviour of this man, from reports of gas chambers on slave ships to max executions for the sheer thrill of it. The further you look into him, the more you realise just what a cowardly, evil fucker he really was. Overall, he was responsible for the deaths of tens of millions of people, at least 2 million of which were his own countrymen. Those who weren't consisted heavily of the needless non-combatants, civilians, etc. He's long dead now, of course, but I think it's important to remember all he did, not just the somewhat positive stuff. Few people in history were as spiteful, evil, petty, and downright deluded as Napoleon Bonaparte. Finn. Okay, one last thing. I want to thank all of you so much for watching, and I really hope you've enjoyed this video. These new ones take a lot of work to produce, and I've enjoyed every damn second of it. Well, here comes the cringy bit. Please, if you have enjoyed this video, share it about. Show your mates, stick it on Reddit, anything you think will help. I'd love to start welcoming new people to the channel, and it appears in this day and age of YouTube that this is the way to do it. Thank you all again for your patience and respect after the last upload. You guys truly are the best, and I'm so fucking happy to be back. I love you all. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and of course, stay coy.
Yeah, nah, mate, yeah, nah, Napoleon, fucking prick, eh?